Alaskan cities are weirdly, uniquely American and Alaskan at the same time. It's a mixture not unlike peanut butter and toothpaste, and that's putting it lightly. To really show you what I mean, I have to show you 5 cities that just get more and more Alaskan as we go. Let me explain. This city gets more erratic the longer you look at it. Juneau, the capital of Alaska, is a city so inconveniently located, it's the only US state capital that you cannot drive to. It has a population of 32,000 people in an area larger than the state of Delaware. The mountains surrounding it are absolutely stunning and also severely limit where people can actually build. Juneau reminds me of Bergen, Norway. It's a similar climate, a similar geography, with mountains rising straight out of the water. But while Bergen gradually transitions from a dense urban core into lower density neighborhoods, Juneau takes a much more American approach. The downtown ends, and suddenly you're looking at suburban apartment complexes and single family homes. The Main Street area that Juneau does have is quaint. I like the narrow roads, historic storefronts, and I could really see myself eating a reindeer dog at the Red Dog Saloon. But seriously, look at all these surface parking lots in this downtown area. Is there not a more efficient way to store cars, like, I don't know, a parking deck? The Capitol building of Alaska just looks like where a regional credit union would be headquartered. It may be the worst US capital of all 50 states. But what makes Juneau so fascinating is that the city has almost no room to grow. The entire urban footprint snakes along the shoreline, constantly searching for the next patch of land between the mountains and the sea. In theory, this should be one of the easiest places in America to justify building densely. But that just didn't happen. Certainly, Alaska has figured out how to build dense in other cities. Am I right? Right? Okay, so along Salmon Creek, you'll find what might be the most scenic parking lot district north of Spokane. Naturally, a giant highway is the only thing connecting these little pieces of the city together. And this is what I find so interesting about Juneau. The city just keeps stretching northward. Neighborhood after neighborhood occupies whatever buildable level land remains. And in these little neighborhood pockets, the houses here look unmistakably American. These houses could be in Pennsylvania, they could be in Colorado, but the backdrop makes it impossible to forget where you are. So it needs to be said, all of the shopping in Juneau happens at these ugly strip malls. Seriously, with such little land, why would you default to such a suburban style of city design? This is just such a bad way to run out of usable land in the most inefficient way possible. But unfortunately, it is the most American way to design a city. Being that Juneau is so decentrally located, they probably should move the capital to Anchorage to be a little more central, and they should probably take the person who designed Juneau and put them in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. So this town is in an extreme climate and geographic location on the cold and foggy Aleutian Islands. This place is called Unalaska, which is weird because this place is very much Alaskan. This town has a population of around 4,000 people, and just outside of town is Dutch Harbor, the busiest fishing port in the entire United States. Every year, enormous quantities of seafood pass through this remote corner of the world, and the population can more than double during the peak fishing season as workers arrive from all over the place to come here. The first Russian settlement was established here in the 1770s, making Unalaska one of the oldest European settlements in Alaska. Looking at Russian cities in the Far East, you might think we got off easy, that they didn't influence many buildings or their weird city grid structures here in Alaska. I mean, Russia really ruined a lot of their cities over there. But here in Unalaska, the historic core grew around the harbor and the Russian Orthodox Church, which remains one of the most recognizable landmarks in the city. And this would have been a great place to put it downtown, but unfortunately, this little town does not have a traditional downtown area, which is somewhat of an Alaskan theme that we'll explore in the rest of the video. Like Juneau, it resembles a settlement that grew around whatever gravity would allow, with its dramatic topography of the land and the ever-present sea surrounding the mountains. Of course, one road connects all the different little areas of the town, but this road very generously has a sidewalk. I'm not sure how often it's used, but it's there, and I like it. And of course, we have a safe way here with an enormous parking lot for your cars. Along the highway route outside of the Dutch Harbor area, you'll find a few residential neighborhoods that look like this. I wouldn't say they look very cheerful if I'm being honest. There's industrial facilities, and look at that, they have a little picnic area and a little playground and a baseball field. What more could you really want? Personally, I would want a real downtown, but the people here, I guess, are okay with that. And again, going back to the theme I touched in Juneau, what is so fascinating to me about Unalaska is that it has the scenery that should produce one of those impossibly picturesque Norwegian fjord towns. Instead, much of it feels like the city of Newport News, Virginia, accidentally drifted into the Aleutian Islands and got stranded next to a volcano. Alright, I've already seen too many Alaskan themes here. We need to change the name of this town to not Unalaskan. Now on to Alaska's most famous city. You might be thinking, this is where Alaska took the wisdom of the antediluvian kings and finally figured out how to build a city. And honestly, Anchorage is probably the closest thing Alaska has to a typical mid-sized American city. I would almost describe it as a snowy Tucson, Arizona. Anchorage has a population of 290,000 people, and it sits on what should be one of the best urban sites in North America. It has a deep water port, a protected peninsula, access to global shipping routes, and some of the most dramatic mountains you'll see behind any city on planet Earth. I mean, this place has all the ingredients. But for some reason, they have like 3 airports and a military base right in the middle of everything. I genuinely can't get over this. Anchorage could have been the snowy Chongqing. Instead, a huge chunk of the prime real estate is occupied by runways. The downtown isn't even at the tip of the peninsula where you would expect it to be, or at least where I would want it to be. It's pushed off to about 6-7 miles northeast, creating this strange feeling that the city never fully commits to its waterfront. I'm so bothered by the fact that they put this long linear park and it ends at some random neighborhood before ever getting to the bay. Like, why not continue the park to meet the bay or put some special building there? Perhaps a Lincoln Memorial type structure to, I don't know, Sarah Palin? Actually, don't do that. But seriously, this downtown comes so close to touching the water and having some kind of waterfront park, but they just didn't make it happen. They had to put this single family neighborhood there called Bootlegger's Cove. Is it like pirate themed or something? I mean, what an unserious name. Taking a step back, the downtown area itself feels more like a corporate area than historic. There's a lot of office buildings, parking garages, surface lots. I mean, lots of surface lots. Some cool little restaurants and shops and pubs, but not too much going on there. It's a little bit reminiscent of downtown Greensboro, North Carolina. Take that for what you will. There is this interesting office park area. It's almost urban adjacent. I'm basing this on pretty much nothing, but I bet a lot of people here drive trucks, wear camo, and like a key card lanyard to work at one of these buildings. I don't really see a lot of districts in the US that look like this outside of maybe Atlanta or Washington, DC. The residential areas of the city sprawl out from the center, gradually becoming more sparse as they get away from the center. And this is very similar to what can be seen in the rest of the lower 48 states. One thing that really gave me pause was seeing this Lowe's put aside its differences and move right next door to a Home Depot. Is it possible that Anchorage is really about letting go and finding peace with your competitor? No, it's really all about big box retailers and giant parking lots. Speaking of parking lots, let's look at our next destination. I'm super curious, have you all watching this video been to any of the cities I'm mentioning today? Let me know your experience in the comments. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, drop a like, and if you're new here, subscribe to see more videos like this. I'm trying to see if we can get this channel to 30,000 subscribers before August. It sounds like a lot, but I think it's possible. Anyway, you are all awesome. So I don't know really why this place exists, if I'm being honest. Wasilla is what I would call the armpit of Alaska. And if that description sounds familiar, it has more similarities to New Jersey's suburbia than you might have initially known. The city has a population of 9,000 residents, and it's in the south central area of Alaska. Wasilla just feels like what would happen if a McDonald's drive-through designer was asked to design an entire city. I mean, I just can't find a good picture of this place. It kind of looks like a low-res Madison, Wisconsin between two lakes, but at no point does Wasilla ever try to make any place not look like a barren parking lot wasteland. Not to be mean to the people that live here, but I have to say, I don't get it. Why live in Alaska, in the coldest, most remote part of the country, if you're just going to live in a place that looks like it could be on the outskirts of Atlanta? Are they here for this unforgettable view of the mountains between the Dairy Queen and the McDonald's? I suppose this is a great place to grill and chill. So why are people here and what do they do for work? Originally, this city was established in 1917 as a railroad supply depot for local gold mines, but that's long been in the past. And believe it or not, Wasilla is one of the fastest growing cities in Alaska. Well, it really is just your typical suburban job market. People work in the service industry, in healthcare, in insurance, and a good deal of people commute to the largest city in Alaska, Anchorage, which is to the south. But for houses that are $400,000 for 2,200 square feet, I really just can't get my head around the question of why are they here? Maybe the people here are just running away from something? I really don't know. It's not like we don't have strip malls with Thai restaurants in the lower 48, and they don't even have the fine dining establishments you would see elsewhere in the country. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, so I'll just leave with this. If you live in Wasilla, Alaska, and you're listening to this, please get some help. So what does an actual city in the interior, cold north of Alaska actually look and feel like? I don't know a better way to describe it, but looking at this place from an aerial view, you can tell people here use a sun lamp 9 months of the year. Fairbanks is a military city, which means a giant part of the city is partitioned off from the rest of the city. It's kind of what North Carolina native Ryan Adams described the military town of Jacksonville, North Carolina as: neon signs, car dealerships, and diners. I feel like that really gets to the soul of Fairbanks, Alaska. With a population of 31,000 people, the downtown is compact and functional. It's not particularly charming, and it's not particularly ugly either. It's just kind of gray in a way that feels very unintentional. The main street has everything you'd expect from a city of around 30,000 people. It has a few local businesses and a sense that everything exists because it has to, not because it was carefully designed to be there. I'm assuming there's something very practical about the placement of Fairbanks, Alaska in its geography. It is just so close to being on the mighty Tanana River. It just kind of touches it and it's like, no thanks. And instead it anchors itself on the tiny Chena River. It's like, what are you guys even doing? What a big missed opportunity. The residential neighborhoods really look like they could exist in, say, Cleveland, Ohio. And it's crazy to think that they are so close to being in the Arctic Circle. Like, why did they not develop an architectural style that has a steeper roof to help shed snow loads, or perhaps orient the homes for a better passive solar heating strategy? But no, this is America and this is what houses are supposed to look like. But I think it's worth considering an alternative. Take Rovaniemi in Finland, a city with a similar climate and latitude. It also deals with long winters, extreme light variation, and harsh conditions. But instead of defaulting to car-oriented sprawl, it has a clearly defined urban core, walkable streets, and a strong sense of identity tied to place and architecture. Where would you rather live, Fairbanks or Rovaniemi, Finland? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you guys prefer. If you want to see a city that I would say is brilliantly designed, I recommend watching this video on Savannah, Georgia. Otherwise, thank you all for watching.